Salut! Eu sunt Mișa, noi iarăși suntem la Artcor în a treia zi a Festivalului Industriilor Creative. Chiar în inima creativității moldovenești am avut 2 zile de experiențe interesante. Astăzi a treia, care e plină mai mult de sesiuni de lucru și tot felul de workshop-uri și experiențe. Mâine va urma și ziua a patra, în care iarăși o să avem și concerte și discuții despre politici, ceea ce e destul de interesant, de fapt, nu vă speriați de așa ceva. Sunt aici împreună cu Viorica și oaspeții noștri. Viorica, te rog să te prezinți.
Salut, Mișa! Astăzi îi avem alături pe Lidia Scarlat, care este producătoare, și pe Marcel Ziul, Creative Director la States. Hi and welcome in Moldova.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey. Let's talk a little bit about you. Who is Marcel Ziul?
Oh yeah, I'm creative director, founder of State. State is a design and animation studio. We are based in Los Angeles. I'm originally from Brazil, so I was born there. Moved to the States in 2007, so it's been 16 years. I started my career. I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh.
And so my dad actually saw that he had clubs, when growing up. My dad always had dance clubs. That was like his thing. Like some of them underground, some of them like the glamorous ones, he had it all. But he was always focused on like popular clubs, like meaning lots, like affordable for everyone to come in. That was like his passion. And I started doing flyers for the clubs, like choreo, draw, like back in the day.
Yes, I remember this.
Yeah.
We are from the same generation, I think.
Yeah. So I was doing that stuff. Like there was a guy who used to make flyers, and then I was always like trying to make my version of it, like trying to copy what he was doing, like in a different way. So when I went to with this idea of being a doctor, my dad said, "I think you like design." And then he said, "I always see you trying to make the flyers." And I made a few for him, and he got me an internship, and then that's how everything started. And then, I was like behind cameras, I was like the cable guy, like the beginning. And then I went from there to be an editor, to start studying After Effects and everything. And then, it's been 22 years. Yeah.
Cool. With parents, it's usually the other way around. You're like,
Well,
you're an artist?
Yes.
No, you should be a doctor.
I think, but I always think of, like, my dad already passed, but I always think of him, I think he was born in a wrong era, because I think he was so ahead of the game. He was talking to me about social media in the 90s. He's like, I think that's how people are going to connect, through computers. They're going to see each other, the relationships are going to start on that. And he used to tell me that stuff, and I was like, what are you talking about? Because we didn't even have computers at the time. It's like in 91, 92. Like, we had computers, but like all the green, MS-DOS kind of thing. But he was like ahead of the game. So my dad was always into art and music. Yeah, I wanted to be also a DJ as well, but I kind of sucked. So it's like, whatever.
Are you, Marcel, an artist, a designer, or an entrepreneur? What is the most important
today?
Part? Yes, today.
As of today, I am a bit of everything, but I try to, like, I am a designer, animator from my heart, and then I run a business, of course. So, but I don't let the money gets to my heart first. It's always like design and animation and us, and then money is a bypass. So I make decisions based on, like, my passion.
But you started as a freelancer.
Yeah.
And after that, you decided to build a company.
No, it's confusing. Like, the company was very confusing. So that's what I said yesterday. When people ask me, should I open a studio, I say yes, because just open and don't care if you fail, because there's never a failure. You're just paying for education, as we pay, right? So I started. I was staff in Brazil for so long, because there wasn't like too much freelancer work in 2000s, early 2000s. You would have like a staff job.
Yes.
A freelancer concept is a little bit more modern and or recent. So staff, and then I went to I started like a smaller city near São Paulo. Moved to São Paulo, went to Rio, then I became a creative director at the age of 25, which makes no sense. You know, like we grow too fast in like in a smaller markets. It's like you go from designer to art director to creative director. It's like how? You're not ready, you know. Now I understand, but at the time I thought that I was so cool. Then I moved to the States, and then my career like reset. It's like, oh, you're creative director in Brazil. Here you're just like a junior designer. And I felt so depressing, you know. I'm like, I went from like making decisions on like big commercials to do small tasks into like a bigger project.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a staff for 2 years, then went freelancer because I noticed that there was like, you know, the company was changing. So, and I saw the opportunity to jump around, but I always had the idea of opening a studio. I tried with friends, you know, like classic stuff, get a project, let's get this office together, and it felt really good. But then working with friends is always difficult, right? So I was like, I don't want to have a studio anymore. And then at some point I got a project from a big client, and then I got another one, then I got another one, and then they're like, oh, now you need to build a studio. So I put together a studio within 15 days, but I never wanted to have the studio. And it's been almost 10 years. That started like me not wanting to have a studio. Now I have a studio. Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yes. It like for me, I can relate to a lot of things that you've said, and only now I understood that failing stories have so many similarities. Doesn't matter of the place where they happen, and then the success stories must have the same similarities. Doesn't matter the country that they happen. Yes, of course, there's this gap between being a creative director in Moldova and then. Like my experience was, I went for an internship in Kiev at Leo Barnett, and I met people who were art directors at 50, and I was like, what? But I'm a creative director now, like I'm 30 something? What do you do? Can you explain? And then I understood how it works, and for me it was impressive and then depressive.
Yeah, you're like, I'm a creative director, and then when you get there, you're like, no, I'm not. Yeah.
What do you think about, guys, about this changing and having this shift from a very high position to something low? Do we need as humans sometimes to have this, how to say, fails in order to become better?
Failure is part of like our nature. Like, you know, you only know how to get up if you fall, right? And you're going to have so many falls in life, like, you know. I think it all starts in like when we're parents, we're trying to protect our kids to not fall, and I go in a different way. I just watch them, and I'm there as a support. You're gonna fall, just do it. And then when they fall, I'm like, okay, just get up, you know, continue. You're gonna fall many times. So it's part of it to me. You need to fall. You need to like. That's how you get better. It's just like I learned up to today. At state where we failed on projects, and then I go, oh my God, we failed on this project, and then people are like freaking out, and I say, let's jump on a call and see what we learned, because I see like the failure, even like financially, I usually measure that as like a cost of learning. So for example, you failed on a project. Let's say you got the project for $50,000 and then you spend 60. You're like, oh my God, I lost 10 grand. And I say, no. We paid $10,000 to understand how to make a project like this. Now we know. Next time, remember, we paid $10,000 for education. It's like you didn't fail.
Marcel, this is nice on the side because, but another side, let's face it. I suppose in Brazil is the same. We don't have this culture like in the US to fail. That fail fast, fail. It's something that you learn of, and in Brazil. If you know, when you were a child, it was a shame to fail?
I mean, as a yeah, but even in the States.
It is a shame because if you fail in Moldova, especially if you are a woman and you fail in business, for example, everybody says your husband will tell you, I told you, stay home. Don't do anything because you're not good in anything. So it's sometimes when you fail, this can go to, and talking about your speech yesterday, it helps people to go fast into depression.
Yeah, but it's not only what people will say, it's what you actually think
You feel, yes,
about
yes,
what
that's
they will
actually how you
think, because
feel,
it's
yes.
baked into us by our parents that, oh, this is shameful what you did, this is not good.
But it's the amount of information too. Like when I analyze my mom's and my dad's behavior with me, I don't blame them. I remember when I started talking about therapy with my mom, she asked me this question. She goes, "So it's all my fault?" And I said, "No, you didn't have the knowledge. That's why. So I don't blame you, and that's what built who I am. So that's why I understood that. So it's all about like learning who you are and not negotiating with people. So when people tell you something, it's a failure, and then inside you, you know that it's not, but you're trying to prove to other people that you're not a failure. You're like, I don't need to prove that to you. I know that I'm not. I'm not going to negotiate that with you. So it's okay. You can say whatever you want.
You have to know who you are.
Who you
And
are.
what are your values.
And then it's like over.
Why are you doing this?
So I say this, I know who I am, and I'm not negotiating this with you at all. I'm not going to even get into that conversation.
This is great. Let's talk about AI.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, because we had a conversation a little bit earlier. What do you think about AI? And Lydia, also, what do you think about AI?
Well, I'll let Marcel start because I think that he would dive into the right paths of discussion. But if it's up to me, there's like good uses of AI and bad uses of AI, and everybody now is like navigating, just like what do we do with it? Ai is like a way of saying oh.
Like pain in Portuguese. Yeah.
Cool.
So how I'm using AI. Do I like AI? Yeah. Because I know how to use it. I use in my favor for things that I struggle. So for example, when I'm putting a pitch to a client, writing, it's always a pain.
For you?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I need to write this pitch, so I need an entire day to write it. It's like, oh, the ideas are there, frames are beautiful, everything, and now I need to write. And then we have this misconception, right? No one, like, clients don't read that stuff, right? It's like, they want to see beautiful frames. Get to the frames faster. So they're like, but the writing needs to be there in case someone wants to read. So I don't use AI to speed up my creative process. I use AI to speed up the things that I struggle. So the struggling is not creative, the struggle is in writing. So I use chat to write for me. So I'm like, okay, expand the concept of this, and this. And then AI is like, and then I see what works for me, change, and I get there faster. So I don't spend more time. So I don't get tired because I'm doing that. Because one thing that we all do as humans, we avoid the tasks that we don't want to do. So it's like we always leave the stuff that we don't want to do for the last minute.
Don't you think that this would help us to become more lazy than we are? Maybe our children?
Oh, we're lazy. More time, we'll have more time. I could absolutely relate with Marcel on doing boring things.
Yes, but everything can become boring.
No.
But it's a secondary part of
know.
my job. Like, for example, I'm not a writer. So it's a secondary part of my job. If I was a writer, I wouldn't use AI.
But you don't use Midjourney, for example.
No, like I've used before, but I think the time that I spend on Midjourney to get what I need, it's better for me to make a sketch.
Yeah.
It's quicker than like, tweaking things. I'm like, turtle jumping over a wave. And it's like, and then it's like a weird turtle. I'm like, damn it. It's better to just like Photoshop real quick and explain someone and they get the idea. So I've used Midjourney a lot, but but I think what I'm seeing, and I would love to give you names, but I'm being responsible here. I've seen major people being, you know what flappers mean or no? You know those ladies that used to jump?
Yes.
It's like the flappers of AI. It's like, oh my God, look at what the computer can do. And I go like, oh my God, you should see what my head can do. It's insane, because this is like a powerful machine and I have access to it. So the conception of like me as an animator trying to use AI to replace me, I don't like. So I don't use AI to do the stuff that I like. I use AI to do the stuff that I don't like. So that's why I think I can use responsibly, and I don't try to like use AI to replace my forte.
But what about corporations? Because we are users, but they are like providers of this AI. So, for example, they are taking our data, our behavior, and they are using this, I don't know, against us, for example, to click more, to like more, because you said that this can also, this is, I don't know, it makes us, it will create probably some health problems for a generation. What do you think about this?
Think about, like, this is what I found interesting. When the financial people start moving from Wall Street to the Silicon Valley, I knew something was wrong Valley, because you put money in play. So when Google start giving Gmail accounts for free, and I go, this is not for free. No one works for free. They know all they want is your behavior, so they can sell you more, right? So they can sell your data, and that's how. And it gets so big, because when they get sued, they can pay the fine and still make money. So the fine is like ridiculous compared to the amount of money they are worth. And I think that's what AI is gonna do. They're gonna get all the input of data. Artists that make art for years, and now they're like combining stuff. Like I can see stuff from State on AI already, so you can type it in. It's this project from State combined with this, and it comes, or it's State style or someone's style, and it shows up. So it's like they're getting this data for free to create a mashup of stuff, and of course when there's money involved, it's just gonna get worse. It's just gonna be like, oh, I can pay this company to influence how people are gonna use design because I have a product that speaks to that. So let's say I can influence a bunch of designers with like a color palette because my brand is in that color palette within that specific field. So my brand is more
can
valid.
solve anything with money.
Yeah, it's very
today.
Yeah, I think that's how people make money. Because I don't think AI is here to like be, we're here just to be nice. No, you're here to make tons of cash.
Yeah, most definitely. But at the same time, look how Meta failed big. The thing that it's a big company and they have big money doesn't mean that they are going to do it right. Sometimes they fail and they
but that I can
smash into a wall, like 40 billion something. It's like, what?
But I can go, are you talking about the metaverse?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have two thoughts in there. First is that I believe when we present stuff to the universe, and I go, I can sound really like wisdom. No, I'm just saying that a belief. Maybe the universe is going to reject, and like, no, we don't need this, and it's going to fail. So the metaverse to me is a misconception that everyone is like. Do you remember the Second Life, like that they have in the beginning of 2000s? People are like spending time. Yes. Metaverse is just like a that thing on steroids, it's just like heavier. But it's like what they failed is like, if you think about the internet, everything's connected, right? You go to your bank, you go to Apple, you go to Google, you can choose. And then metaverse, they were like, Meta is doing one, Apple is doing another one, Google's doing another one. And then I go, how do you guys talk? Because they all want to have one platform and it doesn't talk. So that's how they failed, because they were thinking that they were bigger than the internet, who is already connected.
Yes, I understand, but at the same time we were talking about children before, and for me, these kind of constructs, like also social networks at some point, I don't know how many of you are really now using this social networks as you did like 10 years ago.
We were talking about
10 years ago.
Because we start refusing.
Yes.
And for me, it's like with kids, sometimes you're like bringing him the best toy, and you're like, look, this is awesome, and he's like, yeah, no.
But I think at the time, it's like, I can't get political here. But we need to go through some bad political decisions to learn some stuff. It's the price of education, right? Yeah. It's like, I think we paid the price with social media, and now we're paying the price with our health. How anxious we are, how much more we're buying from like, we feel the necessity of getting likes. So you post a photo and you're counting the likes, right? Because your brain's like addicted to the feeling of being liked. So we're trying to find love into something digital, which is not true. maybe instead of posting a picture, all you need is a hug from someone in your family. You know, like that's all you're missing. You're not missing 100 likes. You're just missing someone to talk to you. So
Yes, but this means that these corporations, all of them, are manipulating us in order to, right, with our feelings, with our emotions, in order to somehow to get these likes and to increase the engagement, so people will be more there. So you basically build a life in this digital world.
but I think they're going to fail even more. Look at how much more money they need to spend to understand who we are, because they're using computers. It's like, this is like, I think, but this is my personal belief. It's like, you're spending money on computers to understand humans. Like, we're so complex. How the Korean guy dancing Gangnam Style is like cool. We don't even know. Maybe that was a guy, like, you know, in the, I don't know, like thousands of years ago that used to do that dance, and that dance is on in our DNA somehow. And then we watch, we like it. We're like, oh, this is so cool. And people are like, this is, how do I come up with the next thing? You won't come up, because this is something that was in our DNA. Maybe like you know, like Caesar used to do that dance, and we don't know. Like, and then we like it because we were there. Like, maybe someone related to us 1,000 years ago was watching that thing and it thought it was cool, and now we all think it's cool. It's just like a complex machine. It's impossible to understand. Like, I think AI is working on.
Do you think it will fail, AI?
No,
As, for example, as metaverse, as Web3, as all NFTs, and it was a hype. I read somewhere that all these were trends, or trends were hype, and at some moment they just failed. But AI is so successful now, and maybe it will be successful because of all the investments that were made by investors, by Wall Street in this, and this is growing because of the tons of money that are invested, and they will be interested to become more successful.
I think, yeah, but I think they're going to spend like money. I think AI is here. If AI is here to serve humans, sure, but I think some flappers are putting that above humans, which I disagree. That's what I'm saying. AI is here to do the stuff that I don't want to do, not to do the stuff I want to do. It's different. You know, I before the workshop today, I had a brainstorm call with my creative director, and then we had like this awesome, you know, cool idea. Then for like 20 minutes, we were just like exchanging so fast, and then we get where we need it. And then I don't think, you know, I wouldn't use AI for that thing, because I think that's what makes us unique. I don't know. I don't think it's going to fail. I think if AI is here to help humanity, or maybe help humanity to suffer a little bit more, that's the purpose of it. You know, there's a purpose that we're going through this. That's what I think, you know. There's a purpose for that.
In my opinion, it's a bit similar to what you talked before, well, Gmail and everything. There's this window of opportunity when we have this technology and it's free for a period of time, or like it costs nothing comparable to its actual cost. And we can benefit from that to use it as an instrument, because like almost 20 years ago, it was the same with different kind of instruments on the web. And for me, it was super beneficial, since me and my wife, we started a media company, and we used a lot of free tools. And now most of those tools, they cost money. And the good tools cost a lot of money. And it will be the same with AI. When they will reach like this sustainable, I don't know, levels of how it actually costs versus how you should pay for that, it's going to be crazy expensive.
Yes, but at the same time, are we feeding these AIs because we are using it free? Are we actually paying with our freedom, with our data, with our, I don't know, with our...
Yeah, but let's calculate rocket, I don't know, trajectory with sticks and stones and something like that. There's a piece of technology that is actually super useful for us in our days. I'm not sure about the phones, but at least like a lot of technology that we're using day to day are saving lives, are helping us travel, are helping us, I don't know, connect with people on the other part of the globe and have this knowledge exchange, or at least like this experience of coming up with something new. There's a part of technology that's actually useful.
Yeah, I agree. This is just a tool, I think.
Let's go
if
back
you
to
It's
paper
use
and
it, yeah.
pens and
It's a
Yeah.
tool. I mean, we're all going to use AI, but I always feel like what's the benefit? You know, like I use AI to do stuff that I struggle or it would take me a lot of time from my main task. But I don't plan to maybe I can use for like creative stuff, but it just takes so long to get to the point. And I think we're just allocating time where instead of like Pinterest, we go to Midjourney to find references. It's like, are you saving time?
No, not
You're just going to another platform
Yeah.
to use. They're just tricking you into that. So, but in terms of like getting the stuff that I don't want to do quicker, yeah, sure. I can use that time to allocate to something else, to more creative stuff.
I also I read an article or something that now an AI can learn your voice in 3 seconds, you know, and so I don't know. We have this podcast, and AI is learning our voice.
We're speaking now something horrible.
No, it's not about. And the AI can make a conversation. So actually, he can call to I don't know, to our children, and he can say that, "Hi, it's mom. Let's do this. Let's meet." I don't know. So this is becoming very also another
Dangerous?
part very dangerous. Yes. So this.
But that's like what money gets
my-
in the way, because the guy who was making this, he's like, oh, how can I make something that it's easy so I can make cash?
My, que-
And that's
my,
not
ques-
the
my
bypass.
question is how to prepare our children for this. How to do you know how? Well, besides regulations, because we know that this could help. But-
Yeah, but like you see how we went from like 12 months ago, we were just like start seeing Midjourney, right? Like, oh my God, what's coming? And then it was just an explosion of stuff. Like, you know, I think I was telling you that we will need regulations, probably like, you know, trying to like teach kids like the responsibility of using it too, and how much to use. I think there's so much to learn about it. Probably they're gonna blame us how, you know, oh, you did all this shit to me because you didn't have
Yes.
like knowledge. Yeah, that's our struggle. Like our parents were like doing stuff to us that they
Yes,
didn't have the
yes.
knowledge. Now we don't have the knowledge about AI or
Prepare
what.
them.
Yeah, to
yes,
prepare
for
them.
the future.
So that's what I always say. We're going through a struggle that we need to go through for some reason. It's gonna give us a lot of anxiety for sure.
yeah.
Like we're gonna get so anxious for, like, I remember when I moved to the States, I was checking this CNN all the time, and I got addicted to bad news. Just like, oh my God, let's see what's happening. Let's see what Trump said. Let's see this. Let's see that. You're just like, oh my God, I need to see that. It's addictive, right?
I think we have the same problem with, now with the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, you just want to like, oh, how many kids died? Let me see more. You know, like you're just consuming all of that, and it creates what? It does like more anxiety. Of course, media is there for a reason and to inform people, but also like we became this full-time buyers. That's our task in life now. We're just buying news, buying this, buying. So it's the struggle that we need to go through for what? Maybe for evolution. It's gonna get to a point that we don't need that anymore. We're like, hey, we've been through that process. It's the price of learning. Look at how many people we lost. Look how many people got crazy. Now let's go in a path
Let's
of
go
like,
back to the roots.
let's go back a little bit, you know, like, because I'm really questioning myself about what Google CEO said in 2017. Like, he didn't know at the time, he wasn't sure if humanity needed to go that fast. And I'm asking this question, do we need to go that fast? Do we really need? Because imagine if you get a car here and then you go 100 miles an hour to whatever, at some point you're going to crash. You have to like slow down a little bit and like, you know, but they put Wall Street money on the way. And of course, you know, when money's on the way, they need to speed up in like
But not
profit.
only money. I think that like the amount of people that are on this planet,
Too many of us.
too many at some and what I'm thinking always when I'm reflecting on the same topics is that at least in my opinion, there were never this amount of people who lived in this kind of quality life settings that a bigger part of us have, or I'm not sure about the bigger part yet, but anyhow, too many people are living too comfortably, and we have to deal with that in a way, and all of us have to deal with all of us.
Yeah.
It's a challenge that was never
Yeah.
presented to us.
I have this thought the other day. What if we all stop having children and we can burn the planet for the next 80 years, have parties, like drink everything, so we can just like go crazy, stop having babies, and then we're in 80 years we're like, yeah, we destroyed the planet, but who cares? No more kids, like to live.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's never kind of a super smart idea, because I've seen some.
I heard this from a comedian. Just for your information.
That's a good point, anyhow. But like about China and this children gaps and like birth gaps and generations that are not able to sustain all the generations that were before, and it's not something that we can actually shut off. And
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe AI and all the recent tools and all this economy and money making is all actually necessary. Like, in my opinion, would it be better if Meta would spend 40-something billions on like solve the healthcare issue? Yes, it would be better, but not in this economy apparently, or I don't know why.
Yeah, but I agree with you, but it's also like when you start thinking about humanity overall, we wanted to see what kind of planet that we need to like leave for our kids, but I think that's going to be like the next generation's challenge, how to stop that. I can see like how, my kids, for example, they love watching YouTube videos, but then when they do that too much, they become zombies. They can't even talk to me. I talk to them and my son is like, probably he's thinking about like, all the stuff that he was watching.
On Dad.
So it's really scary, but I mean, it's, again, to me, it's the struggle that we need to go through to understand what the real issue is. And
But do you think that maybe, I don't know, just like an assumption that the humanity, people will be in two different categories? We'll have people that are using AI and are in the digital world, and they will live there, and the other people that will have critical thinking. They will understand that this is just a tool they can use for being more efficient, and so we'll have we're not going to have this middle mass, these middle people just to.
Yeah, but like,
do we have this? I don't know, these risks.
We do. Well, just think about let's say, I know it's a weird topic, but I gotta say, well, like we're probably like the same generation. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about we went to my kid's school. He's 7 years old, and then the teacher was talking to us about pornography on the phone. And I go to my friend and I said, do you remember us trying to watch porn in the 90s? How hard it was just to get the tape. It was like you have to convince your friend to go, like the older brother to go rent a tape. We'll make a copy, wait for our parents to go out, watch it real quick, exchange tapes. It was like, and then the kids go to it now. Today is just watching them. It's just like one click and they watch it. And then we're like, oh my God, it's so much easier. Yes, but that's impacting fertility. They're not interested in having connections with other humans anymore because they're like, it's much easier to just go on my phone. So it's the struggle that we need to go through. It's just like, hey, this is what we're creating. Is this really it? Is this the problem that we're
Basically,
having?
we are creating this future for our children.
Yeah, it's
Let's focus on something else. Do creatives have the power to change something in this, or just we are these cogs in these machines that are doing consumption and promoting consumption and different kind of new things? Or
just put people in first place. That's how you do. Whatever you do, that's how. I didn't want us to talk about state too much positioning, but that's how I was able to go through, understand myself, to change the way that we approach projects. It's just human-centric. You take on a project and say, hey, is this going to help humanity move forward? Yes. And then you have a critical thinking to say, oh, this helps. Or we can get, like, for example, I love how we can do how we can grab money from this like a bigger project that it's like whatever, and then make something for humanity. You know, like you're always like you need to give, almost like give back. So you're always thinking like, because the other day, you know, weed in California, cannabis in California is in the States, it's almost like legal everywhere. And there's so much money on it. But then I got an offer for like a single bid project that it had tons of money to promote cannabis. And I go, no. And, you know, some business people are like, well, what are you talking about? Like, no. This is not help. I had my mom with addiction back in the day. Do I want to promote this? You know, like, you know, it's there. Just go and buy it. You know, I don't want to be, like you were saying, the Lucky Strike, you know, addiction. It's all related. So it's always like, so if we create a human-centric companies mentality, we're serving humanity, not, you know, Wall Street or whatever, money makers. And then I think we have a better way to approach.
Do you think that we really can change this? Because I suppose that this company that asked you to have this campaign, probably they were accepted by others. So they made this campaign, promotion campaign. How to fight with them?
But it wasn't that good.
Fight. This is for sure. But anyway, can we really change things?
I think I think, and I also think that life can challenge us. Like, do we really learn how? You see, like how advertising for the tobacco industry is now almost like against the law. You can't make it like it. Yeah. If you ask creatives now to create something for tobacco, they say no. Even for alcohol, it's kind of like, oh, you know, like we do for beers, but it's like, even for beers, like at state, we say no. But I think it's life actually challenging us. Did you guys learn about this already? Like, did humanity learned for sure that we can't do this? And now it's challenging again. Like, and now we're promoting vaping. And now we're having 10-year-old kids vaping already at school. And it's like, to me, it's like, did we learn from the 50s where kids were smoking? Like, we didn't learn. Okay, so let's go again to the process of learning. It's going to hurt. Some kids are going to have cancer like in their lungs and stuff.
So basically, you have to learn.
Learn. Yeah, just learn.
That is not...
Don't do it again.
Yes.
It's like, we've done this.
You were talking yesterday about trauma. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that this is something specific to creative people? Because we know that a lot of, I don't know, in Moldova, you can see that a lot of creative people have some depressions. They are more in this. Do you think that, why is this happening?
Because they're looking for acceptance, probably, and using art as a form of expression and being accepted. So that's why I think when you take off the trauma and take off this need of acceptance from others, it helps you to not get like depressed, because you're basically, what depression is, you have a pain that you never went through and your body shut down, and then you have to spend a lot of energy to silence that pain, so then you don't have energy to do other things, right? So it all like this acceptance comes from like a trauma. And that's what leads to depression. So in creatives, I see a lot of expression because, as you were saying, like our parents never thought that creativity and art is a form of living. It's all, you need to be a lawyer or doctor.
Or a teacher.
Exactly. It's
proper
like classics.
Job.
Yeah.
Go to the bank.
Yeah. But it's more like, to me, it's like, that's how I think. If I was telling you, like, if I had to tell if my kid was going to college right now, I'd be like, do psychology, because that, like, humanity is going to need so many of that, like, you know, to heal people, because it's going to get crazy, even crazier, because people are just not going through. Every time I start talking about feelings, I was talking to feelings about feelings with some friends the other day. They're like, oh my God, are you gay? And I'm like, what is the connection? What if I am?
What if?
Like, what's the connection? Like, are you kidding me? Like, no. I'm just talking about the stuff that happened to me. Probably you're mistreating your wife because the pain that you have from your parents. So can you just solve that and live a happier life? That's what I'm saying. You know, stop treating her badly. Just solve your pain, go through the process, and then you're going to be happier, lighter. So you're not going to develop diseases, or you don't need stuff that you think you need. So for example, I had asthma my entire life, but my asthma was related to my trauma. And then after I went through like the process of like getting better with my head, I swear to God, it's been 2 years since I use inhalers. I don't use them anymore. Zero.
Wow, this is amazing. And do you think that creativity and can help people to solve traumas, or you have to go to a psychologist, for example, or to
Yeah.
a doctor that is... I learned that neuroscientists had some researches, and through creative activities,
Yeah.
this can help people to get out.
I think
Get
so.
off. Yes.
We can use technology, but it's dangerous in one point. All the times, like it's about money getting in the way, right? So it's like I've seen big companies coming even to us, asking us like, can you help us to do a project for mental health? Yes, I can. Oh, but it has to be under our brand guidelines and all of that. And I say, no, it's not how it goes. Like, if we want to help people, for sure,
We help them.
and then we help them. It's like, if you're like, I don't mind you making money, that's okay. Like how Headspace, for example, it's a good example. You know the app Headspace?
Yes.
So Headspace is amazing, right? So you're like, for like beginners, you want to like just like
Meditate.
mindfulness,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. Great. And then also one thing that I believe there is like, for example, the friend that I was talking to about trauma, he's not ready for that talk yet.
For accepting.
Not ready. So our task as creatives, I feel like it's just like presenting the subject. Just presenting. Like, hey, it's this. How about this? Oh, don't worry. Because even like if you asked me 5 years ago, my wife would ask me like, hey, you need to go through therapy. And I'll be like, I don't have any problems. Get out of here. Like, you do this stuff. So I'm all good. I'm good with myself. But then every night, asthma stuff, putting steroids in my body. Lots of migraine. And I'm like, where's that coming from? More steroids, more stress in my body. And then at some point I start collapsing. So it's the invitation. So at some point I'm like, oh my God, I need to look inside. And then I'm like, oh snap, I have a lot of issues that I need to deal with.
Thank you for sharing this yesterday. It was a great speech. Everybody
I have
was...
a question.
yes.
I had a thought that actually what you mentioned, that maybe AI should work basically as a psychologist, because I think all the resources that the humanity has to offer on supporting AI could go on supporting people having less issues. But then I had also this thought that what do you think? Maybe also creativity is a sort of reaction on deal with trauma. So basically, creative people have this need of expressing themselves differently because of some sort of trauma, and this is a mechanism that the mind or the body does to deal with
cope.
that.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think that's how artists are more sensitive. Give a comment to a designer, he might cry. Oh, not accepted. So. To me, it's like you can be creative, you can still express yourself, but you don't need to negotiate that, love with anyone, because you already love yourself. It's like, hey, it's okay, I'm already, I know.
I was in
okay.
Barcelona, and I heard that speech, and Marcel told us that you don't have to work during nights. You don't have to close the window. You can work during the day, as people do. Don't go into a deeper trauma. Just try to help yourself.
But also, I think, the process that I've been through, like to understand my traumas and everything. And again, I just want to make sure that everyone understands, we cannot avoid trauma. Trauma is part of humanity. Your kids are going to have a trauma. My kids are going to have trauma. Even if we try to be the best parents ever, we cannot avoid that. Everyone will have to process stuff. So all we're trying to do is just make people aware that it's there. Just deal with it. Talk about it. Be expressive about it. Just be like, I teach my kids how to express themselves. Like, you're angry, just say that you're angry. And it's okay. Don't punch other people, punch the couch.
Yeah.
You know, don't kick the dog, kick the couch, kick the pillow, but express yourself. I didn't like it because like the other day I was making fun of my kid's teacher's name. Her name is Miss Hunter. And then I asked my kids like, oh, your teacher is hunting what, dogs or cats? And you know what he told me? He goes, Dad, that's not cool to make fun of my teacher's name, okay? Man, I want to go inside a hole and shoot myself. I'm like, what? And I felt like I was blushing like badly. And I'm like, I can't believe a 7-year-old just told me to stop making jokes because it's not cool. And I was just impressed. And I'm like, this is like critical thinking, self-awareness. Like it's working. I said, yes. That expression, because we would never tell. If I told my parents in the 80s about that, probably my dad would slap me. Shut up, go to your bedroom. Be like, oh,
How dare you?
what happened? No, never express yourself again. Oh my God. Asthma.
I was lucky. I had great parents, and I did this so I could express myself and communicate. So, but anyway, I'm angry all the time when something is not happening as it should be. So yes, critical thinking is so important. But how can we develop it to our children?
It's to create a safe space, like safe space for them to express themselves, and what they want to do. But there's like so much knowledge that goes into it. Like also, you don't want to stress your kids. So some of my therapy sessions, I talk about how to deal with them with a therapist. And I said, oh, my kids presented this issue to me. And they're so smart because I believe that their consciousness are wide open. Ours is like really closed. They're like, that's why they go through emotions really quick. Do you have kids?
Yes, too.
Yeah, so how old?
Teenagers,
Oh,
17 and 14.
But remember when they were like 5, they would cry, and then in 2 seconds laughing.
Yes.
And then in like 2 other seconds angry. So they're just all over the place because they're so open, right? So.
And something happens when they are like 8, 9 now, because they become teenagers earlier than we were.
Yeah.
And they start to close. I don't know what happens. And after that, after I think 13, 14, they becoming opening again. So you'll see.
Yeah, but like to me, it's like I create this safe space for them, even if they want to be quiet.
Yes.
Just respect that,
Yes,
like
yes.
because I know my kid goes to me. So the other day I was going to give him a shower, so I put him in the shower, and then I'm like, okay, turn around, I'll clean up you, like I'll help you with your hair. And he goes, Dad, can I have privacy, please? Sure. I'll knock on the door later. Whatever you're gonna do, just don't kill yourself, okay? Just let me know. And then in 2 minutes, I'm like, are you okay in there? Yes, I'm okay. Okay, all right. Let me know. And then I noticed that it was taking too long. I'm like, hey man, so it's taking too long, and then can I come in? And he's like, yeah. He was just sitting and like letting the water to go. And I'm like, dude, this is amazing.
You're meditating.
Yeah, he was just taking his time, and I thought it was really cool and interesting just to create that space.
This is so important to respect our children.
Yeah, because then he's now self-aware of himself and the feelings. He can be angry, like happy, whatever. He's accepted, and then he develops, like his brain's not worried about shutting that off. His brain is more like, oh, I can learn different things. Yeah. Critical thinking.
Actually, I think that we have a great generation of kids now. Is growing. Yeah. I'm working with young people, and they are so smart. They are so fast in doing everything. They're so flexible. We weren't like this. We were like two types of teenagers. We were rebellious one and very quiet. But now they are amazing, an amazing generation.
Yeah, but also like teaching the problem solving too. Like talking about kids, I saw the other day my kid wanted a train that cost $150. And I told him like, yes, I can buy that for you, but for 4 months, we're gonna buy nothing. Is that okay? So we gave him a calendar. Say, hey, until this date, you're gonna get nothing. Do you agree? Oh yeah, I agree. Cool. So he bought the train. The train worked for a day and it broke. Something broke, and it was a disaster. He cried, and I explained that to him, and I said, look, don't need to panic. We can solve this together. Let's find the answer. What do we need to do? Do we need to return? And I said, well, how about finding a spare piece? Maybe we can buy that spare piece, And then we fixed it. So we bought the spare piece. Came back, we plugged it in, didn't work. He was crying. I let him go through the process of suffering for that. I said, I cannot take, all I wanted to do is just say, I'm buying another one, don't worry, right away.
In 4 months, though.
But then, this is what I did. I said, think about it. What can we do? And he's like, I don't know. Can we return it? And I go, how long did you, what happened here? Did you break it? He's like, no, I didn't. He explained me what happened. I saw that he didn't break. It was like a malfunction. Mm-hmm. And I said to, and he said to me, let's read the return policy. Mm-hmm. And you get 30 days. Smart. And he's like, but I threw away the boxes. I'm like, where's the trash can? It's outside. So we're going into the trash can, and then we're going to get into all the package. We're going to clean, put the tray, and send it back. Is that okay? Yeah. For 2 hours, this kid is like cleaning the box, making it perfect. We wrapped everything, and then we return it, and he got the refund, and then we bought another one, and it's working. So you can see the care and the thinking. It's like, how can we solve this? Instead of me saying, stop crying, here's another one, right? I let him figure this thing out with me, but I was there as a support. So he felt safe. Like what I was trying to teach him, when something breaks or it's not work, let's say work with your team. What's the solution here that we can find together?
Actually, you had developed here three main skills. It's critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity.
Yeah, just think about it.
If we will have, I think we will gain as humanity.
Yes, but the problem that I've noticed since we were working with the creative industries overall is that a lot of people, maybe not only in the creative industries, but mostly in the creative industries, are acting as 7-year-old kids. Not 5-year-old kids, because they are insisting on something that they want, and they are doing the crying, they're doing the shouting, they're doing the leggy thing, and they are continuing to be
not coming with
like that.
Solutions.
Yeah, not coming with this. Yes.
But now, do you think that that's a behavior? Like, for example, I always think about how we're seen, right? So imagine, let's go back to my kid. If my kid, by the point that he started crying and being all frustrated, if I solve the problem for him, that's how he's seen by the parents. That's how they behave. So it's like, how am I, like how people can see me when I throw a tantrum, I throw a fit, and then people see me, and then it's a behavior. So your brain's like always looking for patterns. That's how you behave, and then how people connect with you. So that's, we as parents, we just need to let it go through the process. It's like pain. Just go through the process. That's okay. Let's figure this thing out together. And then what we're trying to do is not to just create new kids to behave like 7 years old. Mm-hmm. So probably the people that we're seeing now doing that is because their parents used to solve problems for them, and they're throwing a fit, thinking that someone's going to solve the problem. But now as adults, they suffer. Yeah. Right? So now what's the psychology job? It's to break that pattern. Say, hey, you don't have to behave like this. You exist without being like a kid. And it's fine.
I think our job is to empower these people, to help them, because we cannot be their psychologists and the doctors, but for sure we as Artcor, as an ecosystem, we can empower together to find solutions.
Let's break the patterns.
Yes, a lot of people joke that I'm like the creative's babysitter here around. So I usually try to...
But don't solve their problems.
Yes, I understand. I usually pinpoint other people whom working together, they can solve together their problems. That's the process.
Or just ask the right questions. Yeah. How about this? I remember the first time I did therapy, and I was talking about my marriage, right? So I was complaining how my wife didn't use makeup and good clothes to see me. And the psychologist asked me, do you dress up for your wife? And I go, no. And he's like, how are you expecting that to happen if you're not doing your part? Because if you start doing, and then probably you would change her behavior, and then you guys can see each
This
other.
is so important for you. Maybe for her it wasn't so important.
Yeah, but it's like if you do
Yes,
it,
yes, of course.
and then you're taking care of yourself, maybe what you want on her, you need for yourself. Do it for you. And then you don't have to, you know, like just do it for you. Maybe she would change. So yeah, it's probably these people are focused on the other people. That what I'm saying here is like focus on you, like on yourself. So that's why the questions I always turn back to the person. I ask my designers when they show me stuff, first question I say, do you like this? You, as a person, do you like it? And most of the time they're like, no. And I'm like, don't show it to me. Just go back and like do something that you like and then you show it me. And then you're gonna show me something.
Will you put your name there? Yes.
Yeah. I said, would you put this in your portfolio?
Yes,
So that's a no.
This is great.
Maybe we need to do this one. No one's going to put it in the portfolio. We can hide it together as a collective. But if we're trying to do something to go to the portfolio, just do something to go in your portfolio that you like, that you're proud of.
All these are like such deeply humane soft skills that are completely on the radar of the stuff that will actually function, I don't know, 10 and 15 years from now, because with all the technology that we were talking about that is like catching up with us as humans, if we keep on nurturing that those humane ingredients in ourselves, then that's one stuff that I think AI, going back to it, would not be able to compete with. And instead, like they could, I don't know, maybe augment some parts of us, maybe give us like, I think even critical thinking, AI, what I noticed in myself, like I write a text and then I'm like, hey, AI, improve this text. You know, I don't have like a concrete task. I just want to see what it's like to have it written with like a different wording. Maybe there's a different kind of vocabulary that I have not yet used. And then I read it, I'm like, this is a really smart way to say things. I'm like, change this and that. And then, you know, you spend like, I don't know, like 5 or 10 minutes and you do that critical work that it's not the AI doing all these, you know, all the weaving. It's still you with your critical thinking and your understanding of where you want to take this. Like you build the path and it's there just to like show you some road signs.
But I can see like in writing, I see a lot of, it's like every time I ask AI to write something, it uses the same structure. And then after like a few uses, I'm like, oh my God,
daughter
it's
said
the
the
same thing. It's the same use of
My
words.
daughter said that we started to use ChatGPT for school, for high school, and we use it in January till March, I think, and after that we stopped because everybody had the same answers and the same information, so we don't use it.
It's the same,
too
I guess.
stupid.
It
They said
depends
it's
on
too
the prompts because as Lydia said before, also sometimes I find a cleverer way to formulate something, and at some point I even started to remember these things and to use them myself because I don't always have to ask chat or other writer to help me out with some things. And it's a clever way to never stop learning.
I don't know. There are like 120 kids there that are asking the same question. I don't know how many patterns.
The structure is the same. I feel like it because it comes from a source of like a database, right? It's just
yeah,
like,
but even now in Bing you have 3 options of formulating from precise to creative, and then you have.
No, I understand what you're saying. It's like you change the prompt, but like it gets too similar. Like, can you like when you're going through your Instagram feed and then you're going through AI work and then the hashtag Midjourney without seeing the hashtag. 90% of the time I know what's AI and what's not. I know. I'm like, this is AI. And it's like you see the hashtag, you're like, I knew it. This is impossible. This is the same pattern of like it's I think AI is developing a style.
Yeah, could be.
It's developing a style. There's this AI style. Maybe in the future we're gonna be like, hey, can we make this AI?
Yeah, but now you have AI
Retro
artists.
futuristic style,
Yeah.
AI style.
Because on different kind of freelancer platforms you can find now AI artists, and some of our residents who were actually were looking to some portfolios and they were contacting different designers, and at some point they, like having this discussion, they asked about other skills
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm just using Midjourney. That's my design skill.
But when you read AI designer, tell me personally how you feel about it.
Not great.
I know. We all hate it.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It's like everyone that says AI artist, I'm like, oh, or
There's-
AI evangelist.
There's
Yes,
full
yeah.
Behance profiles now. Like when we're looking for artists, there's full profiles of people who put themselves, you know, amongst all the rest who are like, I don't know, hand making things. And it takes you to like click on a thumbnail, read the whole project, be like, this was AI generated with these were my prompts. I'm like, no, you're just
But it's
swim
like-
in the same sea.
Yeah, but also like just think about the value. Like I've seen a lot of my friends with 8 years old saying that their kids listen to like classic rock. But a lot, there's a trend now.
Yes.
People listen to music from the 80s and the 90s, and it's insane.
My children, my kids, my daughters are wearing
The Cure, probably something. like-
the dress that they are it's the style of their grandma. So it's so crazy. I'm thinking about it, and they said, "Mom, 80s was a great era. The hair and the dresses
Yeah.
and the music and the books that you had. Everything was so cool."
And the music, because you know why? This is us going back to like, imagine like in the 90s where electronic music exploded, right? Everyone's like, oh my God, oosh, 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 oosh. Every DJ, wow, DJs, Tiesto, flying private jets and all that kind of stuff. And then at some point, we're like, okay, but can you play a guitar? Because that's a hard task. Can you just do it? Like, you know, like then you see, like, say, Kiss. You're like, oh my God, I've been to a Kiss concert. It's freaking amazing. Just see like a 70-year-old dudes just jamming like maniacs, and then you feel that through the speakers. You just feel it. You know, if Paul Stanley raises his hand, his guitar stops, right? He needs to be strumming.
Yeah.
Like, and then you see a DJ, it keeps going, you know?
Yes.
It is, so I think like seeing the kids, like, I don't think we said that to them. They're just connecting with old stuff and being like, ooh, this is good stuff. You can see, like, even I saw a School of Rock, like, admissions. It's actually like, if you see, like, at some point in the early 2000s was like very low, like attendance. Now it's like picking up again. So kids are going back to school to learn instruments. It's crazy.
Maybe
So-
we'll go back to the roots.
It's
So
the-
this will be the
paintbrushes
evolution.
and
The
yeah.
evolution.
But
our
we needed to
evolution.
see like, I'm not saying like I listen to electronic music and, you know, like, I like it. It's cool. But also I really love like bands, like I saw Heilang from Germany, and they're all making sounds with their mouths and instruments that they make, and it sounds crazy. And the concerts are sold out, and I'm like, yes, this is us going like really deep into this.
Yeah, but sometimes I also think about you know, this first appearances on TVs where there was I remember a specific one which was on the news that, like, about these young German musicians who are doing music out of electronic thingies, and it was Kraftwerk doing
Yeah.
this handmade electronic samplers and stuff like that, and they were and it was. And also the presenters, they were a bit ironic about it, like, oh, so cute, we're doing this electronic music now. And like tens of years later, huge arenas, everybody was
But we
like,
can't compare Kraftwerk with like some modern DJs.
no, but
Because like if we try to do like, are you a musician yourself or
no,
Yeah,
I'm
so
more on the design side.
so I play drums. So
Uh-huh.
if I try to do the drums like Kraftwerk, like to program that's complicated. Like, you know, the way that they were doing in the 80s and the 90s, that's complicated. It's tough. It's tough to do that. That's why it sounds special. Rather than like a guy who doesn't know music at all, he just plug into like
A logic of some sort. And
yeah, just plug it in the computer and say, put this in the right, you know, pace and change the BPM. It's like, it's very like experimental and like plastic.
Make
and
it
the
Kraftwerk
Kraftwerk is like change the frequencies, and
Yeah.
it finds something cool. And that is art still with like meeting technology, but like the pre-made stuff, you know, yeah, it doesn't.
If there's no play, there's no art. That's what it
Yeah, but at the
goes
same
with.
time, it makes it affordable and accessible to more people. And maybe through this selection process, you are able to find, okay, just by processing more people, you will find like 10 brilliant musicians.
That's cool. I mean, like that we can explore. So that's why, like, as a designer, I don't fear AI taking my job because it's gonna be so general. Like, you know, people are gonna make stuff on their phones and like, and then someone who knows design the base of it and how to connect with humans, and they're gonna make something special. That's how they stand
Maybe we'll
out.
have this mass market for that, so
Yeah.
a lot of design that will
Yeah,
be
but
and
that's
something very premium.
That's a good angle
so
overall. Now, even with AI generated art, even with AI artists, the bar of entering this creativity stage, it's so low that anyone can do it, and that means that maybe.
But do you think this
You
is
don't even try it.
creativity? If you are using AI and AI is doing everything for you, is this creativity?
Yes, this is the access point, because like when I was a kid, the access to creativity besides trying to learn to draw with pencils on any piece of paper, for me it was taking a huge bag with a lot of tools, going from what the Buican
Buican.
district to the center to the art school, and with this huge Chevrolet which was deconstructing into this painting table, and then taking this table to different kind of parks. This is hard. It was hard. I didn't like it at some point, but it was the price of going into this. And now you can just type in something and see what happens. And if you like it, you'll learn, you'll find, you'll go deeper. That's
It gives you a sense of like of an immediate pleasure of like, oh my god, I put in some words and this looks pretty. You know,
I'm an artist.
there's an immediate sense of like,
And maybe
made this. Just now, you forget that it took you 30 seconds. You're like, there's something in me, you know, and maybe some people need that.
yes, the
But
confidence.
But others could just stop there and just give like one prompt and not even experiment further.
I'm an artist.
But maybe,
now.
hopefully, for others, it would be like, but it doesn't look like I want. Well, let me try to sketch this out, you know, and then take it to the to the analog
The
world.
real artists and the real people with creative thinking will have this choice, and the other ones probably
Yeah.
that will choose to be like I don't know, like to be influenced by AI will have this one. So
I really
great.
think that like our taste has it has like a proper time to show up. Let's say, imagine that the kids right now are relating to the stuff in the 80s. So it took 30 years for this taste to come back, but it's in them, right? Because probably their grandma used to like that. So your generation jumped that taste. It's like, no, it's too close to mom. Now they're like, oh, this is cool.
Yes, yes.
You know, probably their kids are gonna like what you like, you know, right now, because it's in them. So
yes.
it's like, it's this thing that's moving around. I don't know.
You know what I
something-
heard? I heard that about kids, and I like it so much that our children are me, my husband, my mother, my father, and all my grandparents. So they are much smarter than us. So you just have to believe in them and just give them all the freedom
And the support.
to grow. And just
Like
leave them because they are much smarter than
Much
us.
smarter, yeah. Like, and also like just for them to, like for us to be here, we are a
Just be
combination
here
of
for them, yes.
4,000 people.
So we're versioning out, right? Like this is
Version 36.
version
Version
Yes.
4,200.
iteration. Like I worked on this so hard.
Yes.
God, I hope it's final.
Did you see that? I saw this thing the other day that like kids' thumbs are getting bigger already because of this,
Yes.
and the part of the brain that's responsible for that movement, it's getting bigger too. So that it's changing the
It'll
human
change our.
anatomy. Yeah, probably we're gonna be like the thumb,
It'll be a sixth
like
finger.
a thumbs up, really tall.
I think we have a very
Yeah,
positive note
we
here,
need
so
to
we
stop
can.
because I had the idea that the
This
feeling
could
that
be
we can go
forever.
endless.
Yeah.
Marcel, thank you so much.
Thank
Lydia,
you.
thank you so much. I
Thank
think you
you.
did a great
Yeah.
job
Yeah.
here.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. See you
Looking
next
forward
time in
to come back
Chisinau,
to
yes.
Moldova again.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll meet in States.
Yeah. Always welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.